Okay, please confirm if my audio is okay. Uh, are there any echo so that I can we can start?
Yes, sir. It is very okay.
All right. Okay, so we're looking at legally sound, financially secured, and this topic is particularly important to realtors because of the issues that have happened in time past, where realtors were arrested by police officers just because they sold for developers, and a number of issues that realtors had to, go and answer to petitions at the police station and the rest of that. So it is very important that as a realtor, you know that there are certain things you need to do to protect yourself and also protect whatever commission you think you have made so that you don't lose it to cases and a number of things. So we're going to look at how you can structure your real estate business for growth as a realtor. Uh, every growth has to be intentional. If you are not intentional about your growth as a realtor, you are likely not to grow as expected. And there are legal time bombs that may actually blow up whatever you think you have been able to come up with as a realtor. You agree with me that it takes a lot of process to from prospecting to negotiation to a lot of things. Different sales come with different processes before you eventually close this deal, and then you are able to now collect the commission. So all of this process, there is that level of commitment that has gone into it, and as a realtor you shouldn't lose your commission at the end of the day. So how can you structure your real estate business for growth? That's what we're going to consider this evening. And my name is Samuel Tiamiyu. I'm a property lawyer. I graduated from OAU, finishing top 5% in my class, and also I proceeded to the law school where I finished top 3% with the first class honors. My experience has been within the legal industry and also the real estate industry, working with real estate companies on retainership and also brokerage firms, anchoring different speaking engagements and trainings for brokerage firms. So I can say I'm an experienced real estate solicitor. I'm also a business law coach and a real estate wealth advisor. So why is this training important? This training is important because there are certain errors that may actually kill or make a deal to go bad, right? I'll be sharing some stories what has happened, you know, in my years of practice, and how some investors will insist that certain realtors should be included in whatever petition you are writing to the police. And because I've worked with realtors and all that, I'll be somehow trying to like, okay, this realtor advertise this, and investors have every detail of whatever you have sent to them, the videos that you used to sell, the flyers, and all of these details. So they can actually use it to nail realtors. That's why you should be very careful how you conduct your business so that you don't enter into certain legal traps. So also, this topic is important so that you don't delay transactions, right? Because legal errors can actually delay transactions and it can also destroy trust. If there are errors in a transaction, especially legal errors, there can be trust issues. People begin to doubt that, can I really rely on this person on my real estate investments? And you should also understand that real estate investment for some people is actually their hard earned money. It is all they have, right? So you should guide it jealously in whatever you do, right? And issue of trust is very important because a number of the clients you're also selling to are not even in the country. They are diaspora clients, and they want to be sure that they are buying from the right person. So trust is a very important thing. So also the Nigerian real estate industry is full of a lot of landmines. The industry is not well regulated. There are a lot of people who don't have any business to do with the industry, but they are in the industry, right? There are a lot of regulations going on, but it has not yet been able to capture all the whole essence of this thing. So, and that's why you need to be very careful. The people you are dealing with. I'm going to share some stories as we move on. Also, it helps your ability to avoid these errors and makes you a high value realtor. Trust me, every realtor can sell, but those who will eventually scale are those who have some lawyers backing, or they pay attention to details. And when I say details, uh, regulations, legal details. Because every realtor may sell, but at some point you may not be able to sell again, because some people who sold Ibejuleki as, this title, that title, at some point they couldn't sell again because the people they sold to, they are supposed to have return clients. They couldn't get return clients from them because is that the developer did not allocate, or he allocated but the title has refused to change, after 7 to 8 years. So these are the things that you need to consider. But the question is, and this is a big question, can a realtor be said to be running a business? Grace, do you want to react to that? Can a realtor be said to be running a business?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Yes, it's a big yes. Under the law, you are seen as running a business, even though in the actual sense of it, it may be a self-employed, but in the corporate sense of it, that's when we talk about corporate law, you are running a business. When we say actual sense, that means just like Robert Kiyosaki has distinguished a self-employed from a business owner and all of that. So, but when we talk about corporate law, a realtor is running a business. And what are the reality checks that you need to understand? Number one, as a realtor, real estate is rewarding. For some people, as realtors, they made their first million from being a realtor. So it is actually rewarding, but it is also risky. Yes, it is risky because there are a lot of landmines, like I said. And if it's not properly structured, you may enter into these landmines, and of course it will blow that person up. So it's very important that you take note of these things. We'll move on to that when we get there. Then also there are legal mistakes that may actually cost you some deals. It may cost you some money and also reputation. Reputation is even more important than the deals and the money, because if the reputation is still sustained, the deals can, of course, come, and the money can also follow. So your reputation in the industry is very important. You know, realtors are always very happy to say, I sold this, I sold that. But you must also take note of some of these things that we're going to look at. Also, many realtors also had, but built on shaky ground. Yes, when you conduct your business, the realtor's business is a very challenging business. You have to be up and doing, you have to be on site, you have to do some verifications, you have to go on tours, you have to a lot, you have to edit video. I used to say that the life of a realtor is very challenging, because especially when you've not gotten a team yet. For everybody that is most people who are starting, they may not have the funds to say, okay, let me hire a videographer, let me hire a video editor, let me hire inspection manager, and so you are the one practically doing all of these things. So, but make sure you build it on a solid ground. At least some level of real estate, some level of legal considerations are there. Recently, one of my colleagues, he practices outside Lagos, and he told me that they wrote to him. Schoolme wrote to him. That's the uh I remember. That's the section that is in charge of money laundering, right? So special The name is actually so special control, yes, against money laundering. So they are the ones that are in charge of money laundering. They are the ones that ensure that as a real estate company, as a law firm, as an accounting firm, you are registered with them so that they can, of course, make sure that you file your returns, that nobody is doing money laundering through your agency. So he told me that, recently, I think about some months ago, they came up and they said, okay, he has not registered with school mail and all of that. So these are certain things. And thankfully for him that they even came up at that time. If he had any case with EFCC and then he shows up and they're asking him, are you registered with CAC? Yes. Are you registered with school mail? No. It may be a very big one, right? So we are going to fix that as we move on in this class. Now, how do you structure your business legally? The first thing is that you need to register your business. Should you register as a business name or you should register as a company? My advice would be that you should do a company. The reason why you should do a company is so that you can have a separate legal entity, right? Instead of you as the same person as the business, right? A business name means that you are the same person. So if we want to sue, we can sue you in your own name, trading under the name of uh Abike Realtors or Jugular Realtors, right? Now, as a company is a separate legal person, so it's better to register as a company so that even when there are issues with the company, you can separate yourself from the company. So the best would be a limited liability company. Then also get a TIN. In fact, now before you can register or you can open a bank account, you must have a TIN number, which is tax identification number. So these are some legal consideration that you should look at. Then operate with written contracts. Recently, there was a particular deal of close to 200 million. It was a house. Unfortunately, the realtor did not write to the client, did not, there was no form of communication between her and the client stating that this is how much she's going to collect for agency and all of that. At the closing of that deal, the client declined, paying agency and said it's not going to pay and all of that. So it became like, oh, you have to pay. Oh, you have to pay. So contracts are very important as a realtor. Don't joke with it so that you don't get to the point where you need to get your money and then it turns out that there are stories that touch the heart. So it's very important that you take note of that. Also, separate your personal money from your business money. This is very important. Yes, because if, take for example, somebody sends you money as a gift and then he enters your corporate account, tax people, they will see it as an inflow and they may also charge you tax on that particular money. So it's always important to separate your personal money from your business money. Also, maybe a client has paid some money into your account as a business money, and of course, you are using it to buy. I remember there was one account that we had access to, and we saw some very funny outflow. I don't want to mention some of those things, very funny outflows, right? So it's always good that you separate your personal uh, accounts or personal money from your business money. And this is a food for thought. If your hustle is not registered, you are just a middleman and not a business owner. As a realtor, strive to be a business owner so that you can legally protect yourself. Now, let's talk about money, tax, and commission. This is also legal. Now, first is that you open a business account, like I said, then always collect commission via transfer, not cash. Yes, sometimes when you collect cash, yeah, I know that most brokerage firms will pay you via transfer. Most clients will also do that, but guide yourself against collecting cash because most time when people do cash transfer, and you have case with EFCC or any one of these agencies, they'll just see you as laundering money because how would you do transfer? Sorry, cash instead of transfer. So it raises that presumption that there might be some uh, uh, fraud, inherent in that particular transaction. Then know your allowable business expenses for tax purposes. So at some point in your business, you have to get an accountant to do some of these things so that you don't have to stress yourself, right? But there are what we call allowable business expenses. So there are certain expenses that uh, you are supposed to deduct before you are taxed on that particular money. Then register your business with FIRS or your state's IRS, which is like Lagos State is LIRS, that's Lagos Internal Revenue Service. So it's always important you do that because if you don't do that, by the time you become popular and everybody knows you as the top selling realtor, the tax companies will come for you. And at that point, if they see that you've not been filing your returns, it becomes a very big issue. They can just slam you with big money and ask you to go and pay, right? So it's always good that you maintain some level of relationship with them before they come for you. All right. This training is sponsored by Build. Build is a new innovation, which means Build Industry Leaders Discourse. Actually, this Build is not only for realtors, it's also for developers, it's for students that are in institutions, especially students studying courses related to real estate, architecture, law, building, estate management, and the rest of them. Thank you for the thumbs up, sir. So, we're going to be having certain trainings across board. And of course, if you have not followed our page, please do well to do that. Built Industry Leaders Discuss on Facebook, on Instagram, and we'll be rolling out other trainings as we move on. Thank you. Now, there are certain errors you should run away from. Number one, don't sell a property that does not exist. And this may look like, why will I sell a property that does not exist? Sometimes some people will send the property to you and say, direct listing. Oh, so listing is a direct listing. Oh, semi direct listing. All of these listings, you need to verify them. Some listings don't exist actually. I remember there was a day my clients contacted me from the UK and he asked me to go and check a property in a place in Lagos. And I went there, went very early with seriousness to go and inspect the property and see whether it's good before we go ahead. I got there, I think around 11 or so. I think around 11 or 12. I waited for the agent. The agent told me, oh, he's on his way, is this, is that. I waited for, I think, about 3 or 4 hours. The agent didn't show up. At the end of the day, he said, oh, he can't make it that he will give my number to another agent so that the agent can come. The reason why I did not leave was because that place is quite far away from where I live. So I couldn't just leave like that. So I wanted to accomplish my aim for that day. So at the end of the day, he sent my number to that agent. The agent contacted me, and it was that agent that, after some time, now told me that they don't know where the property is. That the person my client contacted does not know where the property, that he himself, he does not also know where the property is. That is going to go there the next day to go and check and all that. So there are certain properties that do not actually exist. So as a realtor, don't be lazy. Make sure you check before you start posting, right? Even developers' property is always good to go for inspections, right? So that you don't begin to sell what you don't know. It's very important. Also, legal errors can also be when you ignore encumbrances. Encumbrances can be when there are litigation on that particular property. Some property you see it under investigation, EFCC investigation, or you see some suit numbers, right? Maybe you see LD. LD means Lagos Division. In Lagos, it means Lagos Division. ID means Ikeja division because Lagos has uh some high courts. There is Ekpe High Court, there is Ikorodu High Court, there is Badagry division, there is Lagos division, there is Ikeja division. So all of these divisions, so those cases start with the division number, right? It may be a case that is at the court of appeal, right? So you should be very careful when you see all those numbers, right? If you don't understand it, snap it and send it to a lawyer friend and say, okay, what does this mean? So these things, there might be a pending litigation. That means there's a court case. There might be a mortgage. There might be family disputes, right? So these things, if you ignore it and say, oh, it doesn't matter, it might cause issues in the future. So very important. Then also signing FAQs on behalf of clients. And then the client discovers later that there's a particular clause that is a deal breaker for him or her. This is very important. This I know a lot of realtors do this a lot, and sometimes because the client is very busy and all of that. It's very important that you don't agree to some of these things because if when the chips are down, it becomes an issue, right? It becomes an issue. So don't allow certain things. Uh, One of the things you can do is that instead of accepting to to fill it or sign it on behalf of the client, in fact, I wouldn't advise you to sign. Instead of accepting to fill it, you can tell the client you can send it to the client on WhatsApp and say, read this FAQ and let me know what you think. Now, after the client has read it, the client will give you feedback. Okay, I've read it and I agree to the clauses. That's better for you. So that the client doesn't come back in the future and say, oh, I didn't know about this, I didn't know about that. So it's very important. Don't commit that legal error. Also, over promising or misrepresenting land title. So when you say C of O and it is not C of O, that can be what we call fraudulent misrepresentation. If it is C of O still in process, let them know and be sure that it's also in process because when issues happen, they will tell you to produce papers or document that shows that it is in process. Excuse me. Then also hiding the details of other charges. Some realtors will sell without telling the client that you need to pay certain other charges. This thing is very important so that the client won't come back and say you fraudulently push them into the deal and they later discover that there are other charges. Also, misrepresenting the location and the description of the property. If the location is Lagos, Lagos. If it's Ekpe Lagos, Ekpe Lagos. Once it crosses the border, don't say it is Ekpe Lagos again. Some real estate companies will still sell as Ekpe Lagos because it's close. It's just like Beggar, Isheri, and some of these places. Some places are Ogun State, some places are Lagos. If it's Lagos, Lagos. If it's not Lagos, even if it's just a stone throw, it doesn't matter because clients will come back tomorrow and say they wanted to buy Lagos. There's a place at Ikorodu that is actually under Shagamu local government, which is Ogun State, but that place has been sold as Lagos. This kind of things you should clarify to your client and say, okay, this place is actually in close proximity to Lagos, so you can even still call it Lagos, but it falls within Ogun State. And the advantage is that you can easily get title within Ogun State. So it's an advantage and a win-win solution. Sorry, a win-win situation for you as a client. So the client will still buy. But when you hide some of these details, it may cause issues in the future. And the money that you think you have made, you may actually still lose it. Then also there might be mistakes. Mistakes can be avoided. So if there are avoidable mistakes, please don't put yourself into it just because you were not diligent enough. It's very important. Then fraudulent property appreciation projection. Don't say to appreciate by 1000% in 2 weeks or in 4 weeks or in 3 months. Yes, make sure you are moderate in your projections. You can project, but make sure you are moderate. You can even give a range. If you know that it will appreciate 100%, you can say this property will appreciate between 50 to 100%. So even if it falls below 100, you are still on a safe side. Then selling a property that is not fit for client's purpose. This one is very important. Maybe a client has reached out to you and he says, I want to use this property for just short let. And then you say, oh, this property is perfect for short let. And the client is not there to inspect. So the client, based on what you have said, bought this property. What happens if the property is not fit for that purpose? So these are certain legal errors that you should avoid. Now, what are the safety toolkits that you should have? I'm rounding up already. What are the safety toolkits that you should have to protect yourself and your sales, your commission, your clients? Number one, do inspection. Inspection can save you a lot, like a lot. So please do inspection. That's number one. There are certain things you will see, right, when you do inspection. So number two, get the document of the property. Before your clients ask you, get the document. So that when the client asks you, you already know about the document. You are not just forwarding the document that you have not read. This is very important. Then also, document checklists like CFO and survey, deed of assignment, layout plan. All of these documents, know what they are and be able to identify them. Also, let me go back to that. You must be able to identify these documents. This is very important because as a realtor, you are like a consultant to those clients. So be able to identify these documents. And also you should conduct and encourage, or you encourage your client to conduct title search. The reason why you should conduct is sometimes when your business gets to a particular level, you don't want to make certain mistakes. So conduct the due diligence yourself so that you are sure that the property is okay before you push it. That is at a level. Yes, at some level you may not have the funds to be able to do this, right? But you can encourage your clients to do that. That, oh, uh please carry out your due diligence, get your lawyer, get your surveyor to check the property before we go ahead. Then also consult the property lawyer when you are in doubt. When you don't know certain things, when you're in doubt of certain things, you can consult the property lawyer for that. Then save clear evidence of what happened in the transaction. Some clients can be very funny. They will tell you this is what they want. They will tell you this some information that they did not give you. Maybe they assume that they gave you. They will come back to say they gave you the information. You misled them. This, that, that. So please, it's very important that you don't fall into their trap. Also, be on the side of your client. If any dispute happens, please, some realtors are bad in going on the side of the developer. Who is your client? It is the client that gave you money, that gave you commission, that paid you this. Be on the side of your client. I'm not saying you should blindly be on the side of your client, but there are certain situations where you know that you need to protect your client investments in this case. So don't begin to avoid communication. When the client calls you, you won't pick calls. Please. In fact, communication is number one. Communication is number one. Some realtors begin to avoid the client's call, and the client will begin to feel like, oh, so you are part of them. All of you are the same, right? All of you are the same. So you are part of them. So in that case, the clients will just see you as an enemy too. And at the end of the day, you may actually be in a lot of trouble. So it's very important that you must be on the side of your client as a realtor. If anything goes wrong, the deals goes wrong, be on the side of your client. Communicate. Try to give your best to your client at that point in time. You know, do all you can, right? You know, if you have to get a lawyer friend that will say, okay, what can I do in this case? Ask them for guidance. It's very important so that your clients will see that you're actually giving your best to make sure the matter is resolved. But when they see you as an enemy, it can put you in a lot of trouble. All right, thank you. So Before I take questions, if you have learned anything, please just kindly put it in the comments under this particular post, whether on Facebook or Instagram, and we'll be happy to read your comments, what you have learned from the webinar. Uh, any question? Let me take question. Grace, do you have any question?
Well, not exactly, sir. All you've said is very clear. But the last statement you made on being on the side of your client, what if is something that contradicts, will I say, the developer and the client? I don't know how to put it, but sir, I believe you understand me. So let's just say you have a particular issue on ground concerning a particular property as a realtor, and what happened there is contradicting the developers view and yours. So is it that you still like be on the side of your client, or what have you? Thank you,
Okay,
sir.
so just like I said that you should not blindly be on the side of your client, but there are certain situations where you know that your client is right. Take for example, your client needs to get allocation. Your client is right because the client deserves allocation. Take for example, your client needs to get uh, how do I put it now? Your client needs to get some documents, let's say survey plan, or they promise that they are going to give uh, uh, register survey plan, but it's not yet out. They are not giving it. They have promised and failed severally. You can't be on the side of the developer. You have to be on the side of your client because these are certain promises or trust that the client has reposed on you that, oh, I'll get my documents, oh, I'll get my allocation, oh, I'll get this, my property will be there, right? So because as you build your business, you don't want to, people will not trust you, and then they feel like, oh, this person is not going to do whatever we we ask him or her to do. If client begin to feel like you will not be on their side, every client believes that, oh, I'm buying from you. In fact, most times they don't even know the developer. So if they are not on their side, it means that they will see you as an enemy, and then they can even say the lawyer should write petition against you also. But when you're on their side, they will just see you as, oh, you tried, but of course it's not your fault. When clients say that, that means you've done your best. But when they see you as somebody who is also part of the whole show, then it becomes a problem. All right, I hope that was clear.
Very clear, sir. Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you for joining. The recording will be available for those who couldn't make it. And then our student edition will be announced. We are looking at reaching out to students across different campuses, and also we'll be having the virtual one first before the physical. So that will be rolling out the flyers very soon, and so that we can get a lot of participation from them. Thank you and have a
Thank you
great
very much,
evening.
sir. And I look
All
forward
right.
to creating like kind of short content in that aspect. So thank you, sir. Just let me know
What did you
when the
say?
flyer is out. I said I look forward to creating like a short content, a kind of publicity content here on that note.
Okay, okay.
Yes,
We'll
sir.
talk about that. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Thank you,
And we are
sir.
looking for volunteers too. If you have friends, colleagues, we are looking for people who volunteer as speakers, as graphic designers, as different things because it is a non-profit thing. So
Yeah.
we need a lot of events. I believe there are people who have the heart to help others too. So that's the goal. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Thank you, sir.
All right. So come to the end. Come to the end.